You have the look that you look like anybody you're with that day. So say like you're getting out of school and you hanging out with your little light skin like your Steph Curry's or something, and I just look and I'm like, oh, he's black. So then later on you go hook up like with the Indian dude, your Indian partner. Let's just say his name is Punjabi for all political, you know, and he say, hey, Isaac, watch the door. But you have to put the turban on real quick. Yeah, you put the turban on, and then later on I see you at the burrito truck under the same circumstance. I'm like, this motherfucker, you know.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have a very special guest. There's nowhere in the world quite like Oakland, and there's no one making music quite like L-Deez. Lamborghini Ferrari, his debut EP featuring 3 wildly catchy tracks, laced with curbside color commentary and a classic 80s rap vibe we haven't felt in years. But don't get it twisted, right? Lamborghini Ferrari is no time machine. With longtime FG fam Trackademics providing the soundtrack, this EP hits a new sweet spot, somewhere between Too Short's Trunk Tales, Hyphy's wild style, and the futuristic club sounds of today. Please welcome to the podcast, L-Deez, a.k.a. Laurence the One.
Yo!
Welcome. 510 in the building.
For sure.
That's right. Hey, welcome. Glad to have you.
Could I say my little intro real quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Shout out to the most high. It's always a high. See when we're in our lower state. It's L-Deez, also known Laurence the One.
That's right.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're very happy to have you. You were highly recommended by a good friend of both of ours, right? But the way we do it here, we like to start to get to know the person because we feel if people know your story, they kind of connect with you, right? So we like to talk about kind of like how you grew up, kind of your story of how you got to where you're at now, right? So you grew up in Oakland?
Yeah, I grew up in Oakland.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, I was born in 1978.
Oh, wow. I'm older than you then.
That's right.
By 1 year.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You graduated in 95?
Yes, sir.
I'm 96.
Okay, all right.
So we were around when Pac was still alive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And Biggie, by the way.
And
I was 5 or 6, I think, when they passed away.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You were still in the Philippines back
I was
then.
still in the
Oh,
Philippines.
you Filipino?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know a famous rapper named Pilo?
No.
Okay, from HBK. Shout out to my Filipino brothers. Pilo, his brother Kuya, and Mike Ciparazzo.
Shout out to Pilo. All right.
For sure.
Hi, Philo.
So I grew up, you know what I'm saying, in Oakland at Kaiser Hospital on 40th, and I grew up on 39th and Martin Luther King.
Okay.
So that area is by MacArthur Bar Station around, and it's like the uptown or downtown. It's like the hub. It's like a transfer station. It's a lot of history that goes through there. Okay. We got Marcus Bookstore there. I met Muhammad Ali. Marcus Bookstore is a black bookstore that famous black people, when they come in Oakland, they try to check in there if they're having a book release. Okay. And then that's where people in the neighborhood stand outside waiting to take pictures. So I took a picture of me and the champ.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Polaroid, and I got it big in my house.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The greatest, right?
The greatest.
Yeah.
You know what so this is the thing about Muhammad Ali. What people don't realize about Muhammad Ali is that Muhammad Ali is a big dude, or was a big dude. Rest in peace. Like his face is like
his head was huge.
Huge.
Wow.
And then he was playing like he was going to hit me. His hand was like mine's and a half. And I just kept thinking, damn, if he this big, how big is George Foreman? Right. That's all I kept thinking.
Wait, George Foreman's bigger than him?
George Foreman is a whole size bigger than him.
Holy
Makes
shit.
him look tiny. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Wow.
And George Foreman ain't no joke. You got to realize that he won the champion. Like, he was fighting at 48 or something.
Yeah, he was a monster. Like
48 years old.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
George Foreman's a big dude.
Yeah, like he'll still like probably knock a few people out like in the back of Whole Foods. Just
Doesn't he have like 6 sons all named George?
yeah, like Georgina, like on some King Henry, the 5th, the 4th.
That's true. I never thought of it like that. So you met Muhammad Ali. How old were you when that happened?
19.
Okay.
I was 19.
What did that do for you, meeting someone as great as Muhammad Ali?
To be honest, I've been cracking jokes and stuff like that since I was little. So my family always kind of treated me like I was special. Okay. So I just felt kind of like a special person meeting a special person.
Okay. So you were just like, man, it's another person like me.
It's normal.
Yeah.
Normalize the situation.
For sure. Because, I mean, it's like everybody's separated by like one or two people anyway.
Right. They call it, what, 6 degrees of separation?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, name somebody that you don't know that you want to meet.
That I want to meet. That's a good question. Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, right?
Well,
Tesla.
there you go.
Hello, Tesla.
Yeah. There you go.
Say no more. So I know someone that knows a rapper from Oakland, right?
Right.
That knows Russell Simmons, that knows Oprah Winfrey, that I'm sure knows Elon Musk.
Yeah. No doubt. Right. Yeah. Oprah, actually, I would love to meet Oprah.
Yeah,
too.
I was going to say the same thing. Oprah.
Yeah,
Ellen
Oprah.
DeGeneres, Oprah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Rock.
The
Yes.
Rock.
Definitely
You
The
know,
Rock.
So I got to ask you this question because I've been asking him questions all night.
Yeah.
This is what I got to ask you real quick. If somebody said they favorite American sports icon, is it safe to put Hulk Hogan on that list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Wrestling.
If
Yeah.
you talk about wrestling, I mean, Hulk Hogan is pretty much the icon of, at least in our generation, right?
The real question I'm alluding to the fact is wrestling a sport to you?
I think so because they train.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's a sport. I definitely do because it takes strength, it takes athleticism to do. I mean, even if it's so quote unquote not real,
Yeah.
it still takes athleticism to do all that they're doing. They take a freaking beating, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
And then they still got to get up and do it all over again.
And then
right?
all the acting, remembering the lines and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
they're just running plays like in
Yeah.
football, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They
Yeah.
train.
What
Yeah,
about
they
you?
train.
Do you think it's a sport?
I definitely do. I mean, I think it's a sport, but I don't think that anybody really wins. I think
Right.
just but the people at home. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
one of those times where like entertainment
Mm-hmm.
is equally important to being a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. Because
Right.
doctors or lawyers, you know, they dealing with death and people going to jail all day. They
Mm-hmm.
need something to keep their mind off. So that's that for them.
Right. You know who is winning though?
Oh,
Vince McMahon.
definitely.
That guy's winning as
Yeah.
far as with wrestling.
Yeah.
So let's go back to your childhood growing up in Oakland. I mean, did you have a big family? Lot of siblings?
Well, you know, I didn't know my father. I didn't meet my father till I was like 28 years old. So,
Oh, wow.
so you know, I grew up with my mother, my brother, and my sister. And you know, my brother's 14 years older than me, so he was the role model in my house. Really responsible person.
Kind of like the father figure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like look up to him. Like right now, he's like third over the probation department of Alameda,
Wow. Okay.
doing really big things and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So he was my disciplinarian as a man, and my mother was, you know, my mom.
Yeah.
You know, so but she was, you know, she was always working a lot.
Yeah.
You know how it is being a single parent and stuff like that. So
What did your mom do when you were growing up?
my mom worked at Highland Hospital for a second,
Okay.
and then she became a teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my mom is a
The
teacher.
unheralded heroes of our society, right?
She is. It's crazy because when people find out that's my mother, they be like, man, I didn't know that was your mama. Your mama hella cool. But the cool part about it is that when people finally find out that that's my mother, right? They be
Yeah.
like, you're Lawrence's mother. She be like, yeah.
I love
He
that.
came from somewhere. Think you don't got no mama.
What grade did she teach?
She taught junior. I think she taught she taught adult school for second. Now she's an online tutor.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So a lot of your friends growing up, they knew your mom.
Yeah, I grew up in the same house.
Okay.
So everybody like imagine living in one place your whole life. Then everybody know you like when you couldn't walk. Then they
Right.
just constantly see you progress. I've been in every house on my block.
Oh wow. So it was an actual real neighborhood.
It's a real neighborhood.
They don't have neighborhoods anymore.
They do not.
So talk about that. Talk about what it's like growing up in an actual real neighborhood. Because I kind of remember neighborhoods a little bit. Because when I was young, we started in the east side of San Jose. And then we moved here when I was about 12. And I kind of had like a good friend. He lived around the corner. We go to his house. We go play sports. We collect trading cards. We do like neighborhood kind of stuff. But talk about that. Growing up in a neighborhood in Oakland, what was that like?
People know you.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about that. People know you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people know you. Like, they know your first name, your middle name, your last name. They know you. They know your mother. When you could be in the house you could go home and your friend would be in your house, talk like kind of like what's that dude name on Beaver to? I said Beaver to Lever.
Yeah,
Leave It to Beaver. The neighbor Eddie Haskell.
Okay, yeah.
You
yeah.
know, or people just we was all family. We was all family.
So it's like a big extended family.
Big extended family.
Yeah. And what did that do for you growing up? Do you think it helped you?
I think it did because I'm already an engaging person, so I get to be around people that I really care about. I mean, you don't never. Not saying that there was a food shortage, but I mean, you always eating at your friend's house. Y'all go play basketball. Y'all do everything together. You get invited. People progress, get older, but the flip side is when something actually happens, then it really hurts.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just not like, oh man, they were kind of cool. No, this is family,
Yeah.
So it's like a sense of community, and like you get that bond, even like you started from a younger age.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we guys, we little talk about our sex life and some motherfuckers be lying and shit.
All of them, right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that, though. So it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool. Then some people later on got hooked on drugs and stuff like that. Normal stuff.
Right. Do you still hang out with a lot of your friends from the neighborhood?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's not because I don't care for them or something like that. It's because my mother sold the house, right? And a lot of people just left, like sold their house or whatnot. So the neighborhood is not the same neighborhood that I actually grew up in. Like if I ride past there right now, then somebody that I don't know is coming out the house that I used to live in. I wanted to say my house, but you know how that is. But one of my friends still lives over there. But then it's like I see the cycle repeating itself. I can go over there now, see the young guys that are little hanging out in front of the liquor store, probably doing whatever they do, activities or whatever. And in 20 years, it'll probably be a new set of people.
Right. So I wanted to ask you about this because I've asked other people, but you actually grew up in Oakland. A lot of them maybe just live there. So I know there's been a huge gentrification of Oakland, and because obviously the Oakland that I remember in the 90s or whatever growing up is not the Oakland today. Right?
That's right.
So from a true Oaklandite, I don't know if you call them Oaklandites or whatever.
Oakland native, Oaklandite. I know what you mean.
Yeah, you know.
And what's his name again?
Hatem.
Hatem. I know what he means. Shout out to the cameraman.
There you go. Right?
Yeah.
Shout out to Hatem, right? So what's your thoughts on that? Because like you said, you drive by, it's the home, but it's a completely different neighborhood. Like
I have a few thoughts on that. If I'm not mistaken, right? When my mother was talking about selling the house or keeping the house, I was kind of in a relationship with my son's mother, so I really didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, well, that's you. But now in retrospect, I wish I probably would have saved the house or something like that. But that's just one part of it.
right.
When I think of gentrification, do me a favor. Describe or what is gentrification by definition?
That's a good question. I don't know the exact definition, but I know that it was eventually one like I guess type of people, and now they're changing it to a different type. Is that
pretty much?
Yeah.
So when I think of gentrification, this country is built on gentrification. That's what Thanksgiving is about.
Okay.
To me.
Yeah. So I'm part Native American, so I understand that, right? This is the biggest gentrification of anything is the United States of America.
So when I think of that, I don't see why that would apply to the whole country and not just where I'm from is what I'm saying.
Right.
That's just what I'm thinking.
Right.
Because if you ask somebody what a American looks like, right? White, blonde hair, blue eyes, Michael Jordan, shit, man, Bruce Lee, shit, you, me. But 400 years ago, it was the feather Native Americans, not Indians, because he did not land in India. So that's what I feel about gentrification.
So all right. So you feel it's just part of this culture?
It's part. You either gotta bolt down your culture and know who you are, and everything that you have in life, you gotta hold on to it if it's really serious.
Yeah. And so, so your neighborhood now is completely different, right? Are you still in Oakland?
Yeah, I'm downtown Oakland.
Now you're downtown. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
But it's not completely different.
okay.
It's kind of like, I mean, it's going up though. But I mean, it's definitely got a facelift. That's what I'm saying. It got a facelift.
It's got a facelift.
It got a facelift.
It's still Oakland, but it's got a facelift.
No, it's Oaklandish.
Oaklandish.
You ever
I know
bought
that
some?
store.
Yeah, it's not Oakland. It's Oaklandish.
Oaklandish.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because we've had a lot of people on the podcast that maybe they're not Oakland natives, but they live in Oakland and they love Oakland. They say there's very artistic, very creative. There's a lot of culture around Oakland.
The vibes.
The vibes are good. Lake Merritt, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's still probably one of the most affordable places in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, well, yeah, I guess I understand what you're saying. So do you think it was a good thing of what happened, the changes, the facelift?
I don't know. I wish I was still in my house.
Okay.
I mean, but it was my decision. It was kind of my decision where I wish that I could have kind of helped mom keep the house. I don't know exactly how it went. I haven't even had that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember when it was happening, I was moving on in life romantically, trying to start something or whatever. So it was kind of like maybe I outgrew. Yeah, that's your thing. But Oakland is like this though. Oakland is a city where there's pockets, which means that a street, like, let's just say like 39th could be a good street.
Right.
But if you go around the corner, then it might be heavy drug activity.
Right.
You know, there's always parts of Oakland that are pockets. And then there's just parts that you just don't go in.
Right.
Like there's black parts, then there's super black parts, then there's mixed parts.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like in East Oakland on East 14th, like they have sections where like there's a lot of there's an Asian community on the other side of Chinatown. There's a Chinatown, then there's like Funktown, which is like the 10s, and then the 20s is a sprinkle. Then when you get to the 30s, the 40s, and 50s, then that's a lot of Mexicans in black, or Spanish in black. You know, I'm gonna be politically correct.
Yeah.
And then,
Latinos, whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. And then there's still pockets. There's still pockets, and then the Oakland Hills. But then when you go to East Oakland, deep East Oakland, then it's off the hook. I got a different respect.
Okay. All right. So there's still some true Oakland parts there.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Cool. And so you said you grew up with a sister. Was she younger, older?
Older. I'm the youngest.
Oh, you're the youngest.
I am the youngest.
The baby of the family.
On both sides. When I met my father at 27 or 8, I had 3 older sisters.
Oh, wow. So what's it like being the baby of both sides of the family?
I have a baby brother syndrome. Even when I'm with my friends, I have the baby brother syndrome, which means that I'm always used to somebody telling me what to do, and I feel like I'm going to do it if I respect you. But I also feel on the flip side, I got to throw him in the mix. But, I feel like, you know, like if you ask me to do something, I'm going to do it because I'm your younger brother or whatever, whatnot. But then, you know, if I ask you, hey, man, can I hold something? You know, it goes both ways.
Right.
It's weird, though. It's weird, though, because, like, even amongst my friends, I'm always one of the younger ones.
Right. So you've always kind of been one of the younger ones, family and friends.
Yes. Even to the fact where, like, I could have a friend, right, that he might be 30 years old. But if he's the oldest sibling, then his mind frame is different because he's the oldest of his siblings as opposed to me being the youngest.
Right. And so I can relate to you on being the youngest because my birthday is in November. So I got put into school early. So I was always the youngest out of everybody.
Yep.
And where I noticed it the most was in 8th grade. Because in 8th grade, all the boys came back with mustaches and shaving and deep voices. And I was still like, what's going on here, guys? You know what I mean? I'm like, what the heck happened? It didn't happen to me till that summer where I you know, had my growth spurt and all that, right? So I guess I can understand kind of the feeling of like being the youngest. You're always like, for me at least, it was always like trying to fit in or trying to catch up to these older people, right? But I was the oldest in my family, right? So the oldest is like they mess up with the oldest. It's the most responsibility.
Yeah.
Like you got to be the example. You know what I mean? Sometimes they come out a little crazier than the younger ones because the parents go, "Oops, we're not going to do that with the next one or the next one," right? So, I guess I kind of understand what you mean by always being younger than everybody.
Yeah, the syndrome. Because when you were in 9th grade, right? You were what? You started 9th grade, what, 14?
14, 15, 16. Yeah, 14.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my birthday is in October.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah, me too. And when the school I went to, people were 16 in 9th grade.
Yeah.
I mean, because I went to McClymonds. That's like the school.
You were 16 in ninth grade?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, chicks had babies. You ever seen Lean on Me?
Yes, I did.
I thought
Is
high
that a
school.
movie?
Yes.
Oh.
I
Good
thought
movie, actually. Yeah.
I thought high school was gonna be like Saved by the Bell. That shit was like Lean on Me.
I love Saved by the Bell. I watched that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But it was cool though. Like it was a school, you know, like McClymonds High. Shout out to all my partners from McClymonds High. It's called the School of the Champions
Okay.
because they used to win a lot of things in sports, and they had a really good sports team.
Right.
You know who went there? The most famous person?
No.
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell. Wow.
Bill Russell. You know how many rings he has?
Is he like 12 or something like
Yes.
that? Yeah.
He went to McClymonds High School.
Wow. That's legit right there.
It's legit. It doesn't get. He has more than Jordan.
He's a basketball player.
Basketball
Okay, I was
player.
like, who's Bill
Bo-
Russell?
My bad.
Yeah.
Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So back before Jordan, there was the Celtics.
I'm a
right?
Michael
And
Jordan
the Celtics
fan.
were like
Yeah.
a dynasty. Like they won almost like every single year. It was
I
pretty
feel like
cool.
the oldest NBA player I remember is Larry Bird.
Yeah.
So he played for the Celtics.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Same team,
Yeah.
but maybe like 10
Later.
years.
He's
10
alumni.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
10 years before him was Bill
No,
Russell.
I think Bill Russell maybe 20.
Was it 20?
Bill Russell was like granddaddy.
Yeah, it was like 70s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
okay.
60s.
Maybe even 60s.
Yeah, because
Wow.
I remember him when he was playing, watching the highlights like in black and white. He was really black. You know, shout out to Bill.
So you're saying he has more rings than Jordan?
Yeah, Jordan has 6.
Okay.
Bill Russell.
What about LeBron? How many
I
rings
think
does
it's
he have?
4.
4.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Kobe.
5.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's kind of like, and I think we grew up in a great time because we were in Jordan's heyday, Kobe's heyday, and LeBron's heyday.
That's funny that you say that because I asked a question of who in the NBA that played in the era with all 3 of them could attest who the best out of those 3 was.
All 3 of them.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, who could that be? Shaq?
Yeah,
Shaq?
I would go Shaq.
Yeah, I would say Shaq because Shaq will tell it like it is.
Mhm.
Shaq played with Kobe.
That's right.
He played with he played during the Jordan times, right? He competed against Jordan.
Yep.
And he played during LeBron's early
You
years.
answered that on the money.
Sports is a big thing of mine. By
Oh,
the way.
really?
Yeah. Like I'm just getting back into it because I've kind of been out of it for a while. I know trading cards has exploded. Like the business has just exploded like crazy. But I love sports. I was a sports fanatic. Baseball, football, but football and basketball were the 2 most. I was a Spurs fan.
Okay.
So the reason why in the 80s, everybody loved the Bulls. Everybody loved Jordan in the 90s, right? And I was never the one that wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to be like the underdog, right? So here comes along a 7-foot center, the Admiral, lefty, David Robinson. I like the silver and black because I'm also a Raiders fan too. I said, you know what? I'm going to be a Spurs fan. And then a couple years later, we got blessed with Tim Duncan and
That's
Manu
right.
Ginobili and Tony Parker. So during the 2000s, when they were trading championships, I lived in Los Angeles. So I'm in the heart of Laker territory, and every other year it's like Spurs, Lakers, Spurs, and it was just a great time. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think Shaq would be the one that could say who was the greatest of them all.
Yeah, definitely.
Who do you think is the greatest of them all?
Out of those 3,
Mhm.
Michael Jordan.
Okay. Yes. So I would say Michael Jordan is, I would say he's the greatest. He's the greatest competitor. He's the greatest winner of them all. I would say, I'd say Kobe was pretty close actually. But yeah, that's kind of tough for me.
Michael Jordan's career is actually like both of them put together.
Yeah, but Kobe was a better human, I think. Like Kobe did more off the court than Jordan.
Yeah, but the funny thing about it is that we're talking about 3 different people, right?
Yeah.
So this conversation is going to go like this. One person did something better than the other one, but the person that we leaving out did it better than the person that you're speaking on. Like, Kobe might have been a better human being than Michael Jordan, but LeBron James is probably, he did a lot more than a lot of people. He opened up the school.
So I was listening to, I forgot what I was watching the other day, and they said, Gary Vee said LeBron's probably going to be like the president one day or something like that because of the things that he does, like off court, that the thing about LeBron is he's like, he doesn't need the spotlight. Like it's almost like everything's off of him and on everybody else, right? He just kind of quietly puts up the numbers, wins the championships, and then a lot of people. Here's the thing with me, because we grew up in there was no such thing as building a super team in Jordan's era, like LeBron, Charles Barkley, and everybody. Let's all get on a team together, right? In Kobe's era, that didn't happen either. I will say the Paul Gasol trade is still a little shady in my eyes. Like, let's just give you this great center that you need because Shaq is gone now, so you can continue to win about a couple more championships, right? But LeBron, this era is different. It's almost like they're playing NBA 2K. It's like, you know, you're like, hey, I want to build this super team. I'm going to get Dwayne Wade, and I'm going to get Chris Bosh, and I'm going to build a super team, and of course you're going to win championships. For me, as a true sports enthusiast, and I wanted to be a general manager of a football team, actually, but I appreciate the Spurs more because they built it through the draft, through finding players out of nowhere, not signing this big free agent. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I take nothing away from LeBron. Like, he's the Jordan of this generation. You know what I mean? But I just still feel like the way Kobe did it and the way Jordan did it, especially Jordan too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because like they built that team, like the way they built that team, and it was just amazing. Like that's true sports operations, like great operations, great leadership, all that kind of stuff. But I just think like the way they won their championships was like more legit than building like a super team.
Definitely, because back in the day, right, basketball royalty was either you a Laker or you a Celtic. Right. Those were the super teams. Everybody else was just in between.
Right.
Right? When Jordan came, I'm going to tell you what Jordan did to sports. Jordan did this to sports. He made everybody like the player, right, versus the team.
Right.
See, right now, like music, you know how like you like singles, but you don't buy albums?
Right.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
You like the player, but you don't really like the team. That's how it is.
That's true.
So a single would be like a single player, like a player, like a player. The album would be like a team.
Right.
People don't like teams really anymore. They like players.
That's true.
That's why people say, I'm a LeBron fan. If you go play, they'll root for LeBron or they'll root for this player against or for the same team he just played against.
Right. And then there's another aspect to that I want to add, fantasy sports. It made you root against your own team just because your fantasy player needs the points for you to win.
See, I never got into fantasy. What is that, like the point spreads and stuff like that?
So fantasy is like fantasy football where you draft a team and then you compete against other guys in your league and you win. But let's say I have, let's just talk basketball. Let's say I have LeBron, but I'm a Spurs fan. LeBron is playing the Spurs. So I want LeBron to crush the Spurs because I want my team to win. Even though that's my team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like it would hurt me to see them lose. Actually, it doesn't hurt me no more because there's a financial and I'm part of it now. Even though I'm not part of it. It's like fantasy, right? Yeah. But the person feels part of it. So you have people rooting against their own team just because their fantasy player needs to score more points so that their team can win. So that's what it is.
Yeah, so I wanted to tell y'all about a surreal moment in my life, though, about my family life.
Okay.
When I went to go meet my father for the first time, he was in Ohio. He had a uncle that lived in San Francisco, California. He was married to my auntie-in-law, but you know, she used to always come around my grandmother's house because they all live in Daly City or whatever. So I got in touch with my father through my uncle, my granduncle or something like that, Tommy.
Okay.
And then I ended up calling him, and then he sent me a ticket to come see him for a family reunion. Now, the crazy thing is, my name is Laurence. His name is Larry.
Okay.
I'm born October 17th. He born October 16th.
Wow.
He had a gold tooth right here. I had one right here.
Wow.
So we was kind of like dead on. And it's funny, though, because it's crazy that people could be like, how would that make you feel like if you met your nephew for the first time and he was like damn near a spitting image lined up with your brother that you never met?
Wow. I would just be. It's just surreal.
Yeah.
That'll
Yeah,
give me
just surreal.
chills. A
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah.
So what was that like? Were you excited about it?
I think that was the time that I wish probably one of my girlfriends, not like I had hell of them at one time, huh?
I ain't gonna incriminate myself.
Clarification.
Yeah.
No, but I wish I would have probably went down there with my chick, because I think that would have been the time where the woman nurturing could have came in at, because it's weird when you're around a bunch of people that's your family, but they're strangers, but they're like, I came back and I said something about my sister to my other. I said, my sister turned around and said, West sister. I said, oh, my sister out there. She's like, you saying it like you know. But the funny thing about it is that they're equally my blood, just like the people that I grew up with.
Right.
They're just as much. So it was weird, like staying in people's house or my family house, and I'm getting to know them. You like, damn, do I leave my bag here with my motherfucking wallet?
Yeah.
No, I'm taking this.
Right.
Hey, check this out. Hot Tub, I got some advice for you, Hot Tub. I was out of town, right? So I had a little Altoay box, and I was keeping my money in that. So my Uncle Ronnie said, hey, man, where your wallet at? So I pulled out my leather wallet. He said, no, the other one. My cover was blue.
That's funny. That kind of reminds me of a quote that says, blood makes you related, but love makes you family.
That's real.
You know what I mean?
That's real.
Because that was your relatives, but it wasn't. I mean, it's going to hopefully it is going to become your family, but it takes a process now because you got to get to know them and build that connection and that bond.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no.
Was there like an instant bond?
I mean, it got to be.
Okay.
Because I tell ladies this all the time, because usually ladies hold a certain level of resentment when they go meet people like a dad that was never in their life.
Right.
Because, when I went to go meet my father, I was going to have no expectations, just respect on the table.
Right.
I got to realize this, just because him and my mother didn't work out, that does not mean that I'm going to go out there and ask all these motherfuckers, oh, so why was this happening? Where were you at in 1984 when I needed Inspector Gadget? You don't do that. You just go out there, have a good time. Everything is going to fall on your lap, because I still got a bunch of relatives that have been hearing about me for the longest. I mean, my baby picture was still on the grandmama's, what's her name, and it was me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And you just have fun. Everybody want to hang out with you. You and Dad going to talk or whatnot, and then that's just what it's going to be. Right. But I said this is that you don't warm up to a brand new baby, do you?
What do you mean?
You have a brother?
I have a younger sister.
Okay, are you an uncle or something?
Yes, I am.
When you as an uncle, you didn't have to, oh man, I got to get this motherfucker about 2, 3.
It was kind of like
instant.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as grown-ups.
Right.
It's your family.
Yeah, there has to be some type of like inner connection or something, because you come from the same blood or the same genes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like But the point that I'm making is that when a baby come, you love that baby, and you don't know the baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You're
Period.
right. Like if you see a brand new baby out there, like, oh my God, it's a cute baby, or like a puppy.
Yeah.
You just love it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm that baby.
So you just came full grown.
It's full grown. Yeah, for sure. That's what I say about them people that broke in the Washington Capitol, right? They said, Laurence, how do you feel about the people breaking into the Washington Capitol? I said, have you ever seen some little white kids cut up at Walmart because they couldn't get something? He said, yeah, Laurence. I said, and their parents wanted to whoop their ass but didn't. He said, yeah, Laurence. I said, well, those were those kids.
That's a great analogy.
much.
I've never heard
For
that
sure,
before.
that's who they are.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's another whole different subject, but
Yeah.
mean, it's just privilege just on display. Like,
Yeah.
like 100%. I mean, regardless of what you say, it's like if I stormed actually, you know what? I don't want to say that, because I saw a lot of mix of people in there. There was different nationalities and all that kind of stuff. They were just put at the front.
Yeah, I mean, it's like who's leading the charge, though.
Right, of course. Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's different.
Yeah, it's just
You know.
very different.
I mean, it's a difference. Like, you know how, say you eating a bunch of jelly beans, right?
Right.
And you really want all the purple ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a few black ones in there because they look like purple, then that's just what it is. You know?
So someone just spilled a whole bunch of jelly beans.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want, it's certain things that you just can't do to certain particular groups of people.
Yeah.
In America, is two different rules. It's rules for white people with money.
Yeah.
Keyword, with money.
Yeah.
And then there's rules for other people.
Right.
With or without money. Those kind of go hand in hand.
That's true. Unless you're O.J. Simpson.
I was in a crazy place during the OJ trial. That was lit.
Is this in the 90s or like
Yeah.
94?
Yeah,
94?
the Broncos, the white Broncos.
The white Bronco.
Most famous.
The white Bronco 4-way OJ.
Yeah. So unless you're an athlete and you have a lot of money,
Yeah.
then you might get a hall pass or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, I mean, it
You
is.
believe OJ did that?
I don't know. I think so.
Okay.
I think so. And he not only murdered a white woman, he also murdered a white man.
Yeah.
At the same time. So
Yeah.
that's like even crazier. And he is free.
Yeah.
He's only in jail because of him.
Yeah.
Because he tried to steal his memorabilia back.
Is that wrong though?
No, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to do that. He would be a free man his whole entire life. Does that make sense?
But why are you like? My thing is this. I get it. He could. I mean, you chalk the trophies up, go get some new ones. But who wants somebody else's Who wants somebody else's MVP trophy? That's weird.
Yeah.
But it's
Or you
valuable,
can sell it. I guess.
money.
Yeah.
That's probably money.
Other people
Value.
can sell it.
How does that feel though? That's all that gentrification. I have your trophy.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, right?
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also too, like, speaking of trophies, it's kind of off topic, but I don't believe in participation trophies. Like, when we grew up, it wasn't if you sucked or you were bad, like, you were known that like that. It wasn't
Explain that to her. You get
Yes,
that?
please. I
It
don't,
was so participation trophy means everybody gets a trophy.
oh.
If the team won and they obliterated the other team, it's like, oh, it's okay. You guys did good. Here's a trophy for you. Back in my day, if there was no participation trophy.
Yeah.
You got whooped.
Yeah.
You lost. You're the loser. You suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was it. It was like, that was it.
Yeah.
Now
Big
it's-
Bank take Little Bank. It's
Yeah.
first, second, third place.
Yeah.
It ain't none of that ribbons.
Yeah.
No.
I don't like it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like competition was real. If you won, you won. If you lost, you lost. It built toughness in you.
It did.
It didn't. It made you feel like you had to earn it to earn it, to get it. It wasn't like just because you were there, you got it. That's what a participation trophy means.
You know what they call that? Attendance.
But I think it hurts the kids now because, like, it weakens them because they don't have to really do anything to, like, it creates subconsciously, like, I can be rewarded for doing nothing.
It's like laziness, basically, right?
Yeah, it kind of breeds laziness and mediocrity
Yeah.
in a way. You know what I mean? Because if you don't have to do anything to earn something, subconsciously you're programming these kids like, okay, now you can go on in life and continue. You don't have to really work hard at your job and earn that. You don't have to work hard at this because it's already, your parents when you're little were like, hey, you got the trophy anyways.
Yeah.
Just by being there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think that kind of mindset breeds kind of mediocrity, I guess you could say.
Definitely. I mean, you always have to set lines and make things very, very clear.
Right.
Like there can't be any blurred lines. Like, I got to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you this question.
Right.
Okay. Me, I'm 25 years old, right? At the time. I'm sipping Mickey's. You know what Mickey's is?
Yes.
So I'm sipping Mickey's out of a clear glass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say clear gas. Clear glass. And my nephew is 8 years old. He's looking up to me, because he's already short man, so he's a short kid.
Mm-hmm.
So we having a good conversation. I'm sipping beer out of a clear glass.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I want some. I said, you want some of what? He said, I want some of that. I said, no, you can't have none of this. He starts crying. My sister runs from the front in the kitchen. What's wrong? I said, sis, he thinks he wants some of this beer. She says, what? She goes in the refrigerator, gets a clear glass, and pours ginger ale in the glass the same color as the beer. Is that bad parenting?
I don't agree with it, just because at least it should have been explained why he can't have the beer. I think it's, in a way, it's you're still pleasing the kid.
Yeah.
And you're making them think like it's the beer when it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't like it. No.
I see her point as far as pleasing the kid. And I don't have any kids, so I'm the last person you want to talk to about parenting. However, I do see the point where you're not supposed to just like give kids whatever they want, because there's no teaching of like where's the line. Right?
Yeah.
But I do see the point where, so now the kid goes, oh, my uncle's just drinking ginger ale. So he has his drink, and then later in life, you could teach them about what you were really drinking. You know what I mean? So I see that point where it's kind of like diffusing the issue. Like it's diffused, it's done. It's not even an issue no more.
You know, shout out to Big Sis. I think that she did the best that she could.
Yeah.
Right.
But everything is a teachable moment.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Everything got to be a teachable moment.
I'm all thinking about maybe it should have been apple juice, but I think my point is, I think it should have been explained. I have a nephew. I'm not a parent, but if it was me, I would have explained why you can't drink that right now, why, and what it does to you.
Yeah.
You know, just explaining to them and being honest with them to an extent, I guess. You know?
How old was your nephew at the time?
It was 8, right?
8.
Yeah.
8, okay.
8.
So 8 years old, 3rd grade. You know, in Europe, they give their kids alcohol very
Shit
young.
like that. I knew he was going to boomerang.
Isaac.
Yeah, no, but like, so here's the thing. Like, there's also the other way where you give it to them, and then they think it tastes like crap, and they're like, "Ew, I don't want this no more."
Well, you know what used to happen? I remember this, right? I remember my mother used to drink Budweiser, so she said, "Lawrence, go throw this Budweiser away." So I felt the Budweiser. I felt some of that shit still in there, right? So what I did was I drank it, and I felt something in there. It went like this, and I went to the bathroom. I spit it out, and it was a fly. And can I say, Hatton, that was my introduction to Budweiser.
Well, let me tell you guys a story. When I was 8 years old, I saw like an older aunt that I have. I always used to hang out with. She was smoking a cigarette, and I was like, "Can I smoke that?" And she let me. I started coughing. And then I think at the age of 14, I still smoke cigarettes. Even though at that time, I was like, ew, this is nasty.
Yeah.
I also drank beer when I was like maybe 9 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
So I have a funny story. So I'm Mexican-American, right?
Oh, you know what? Stop, man. You stop, Isaac.
Yeah.
This whole time, I'm like, man, what is this?
Yeah.
Middle Eastern.
I love that because everybody thinks I'm Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
When I go to Europe, nobody knows what the hell I am until
Yeah.
I open my mouth.
Yeah.
Then they go, "Oh, you're American."
Because you have one of those looks that you look like, I love saying this, you have the look that you look like anybody you're with that day. So say like you're getting out of school and you hanging out with your little light skin like your Steph Curry's or something, and I just look. And I'm like, oh, he's black. So then later on you go hook up like with the Indian dude, your Indian partner, let's just say his name is Punjabi for all political,
Like
you know, and he's like, hey, Isaac, watch the door. But you have to put the turban on real quick.
Yeah,
And you put the
I put
turban
it on, there
and
you
then
go.
later on I'll see you at the burrito truck under the same circumstance. I'm like, this motherfucker, you know.
Yeah. So
He's the world.
yeah,
That's
But
right.
by the way,
Yeah.
I pride myself on being. So I'm Mexican American. I'm very proud. I said this before, but I don't want to label myself.
Yeah.
I'm a human. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm white sometimes. I'm black sometimes. I'm Asian sometimes. I'm like a chameleon. I blend into like wherever I'm at, right? But getting back to my story, so my dad's from Mexico, from a little tiny town where the kids start drinking like at like 5. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about like hardcore, right? So in Mexico, if you're just old enough or big enough to order, they'll feed you alcohol. Like it's not like there's no drinking age. It's like, can you order a drink? Okay, here's a drink, right? So me and my little cousin are walking down the street, and I think we're
Y'all in Mexico.
Mexico.
Okay.
My dad's little town. Like you go back, it still looks like it's back. It's like it has not advanced in time, right?
Okay.
I mean, you go 45 minutes out, and it's like looks like San Jose, but where he's from, it's like a little town, little town, right? So we're walking down the street, and there's this guy with a huge ice chest full of beer. And me and my little cousin are like, well, there ain't no parents around. We got some money. Let's try it, right?
And how old are you?
I don't even remember. I think I was either 12 or 10.
Okay.
Right?
What happened to 11? No, I'm sorry.
I don't know. I like
that part is a blur, sir.
I like even though,
A blur already.
after that experience, I don't remember how old I was, right? But anyways, we probably had, I don't know. I feel like we had a lot, but we probably had 1 or 2, and I was like hammered. It was like my first time I was ever like hammered, right? And but I never drank after that. Like it was an experience, and maybe it was because it ended up being kind of a bad experience. Cause I had to stumble back to my. Or we had to like kind of like go around the town. And it was cool because you could go around and not come home till night, whatever. But that was my first experience with drinking. Right now, my parents when they watch this, they're gonna know. And they probably heard this before.
Yeah.
But yeah, it never really. I mean, I got like drunk, like we're because first time ever drinking, not knowing like how much or whatever, and my cousin was kind of like a little daredevil, so he was like egging us on, like just more and more, and they were like probably 5 cents each or whatever, right?
So you drunk more than one?
More than one. I think we drank 2 or 3. So we were both pretty much plastered.
Beer or liquor?
Beer. It was Modelo. I still remember.
Modelo?
I still remember the exact Modelo, and I still remember we put the lime and salt.
Yeah.
And to this day, I cannot drink beer without lime and salt.
Okay.
Like it's something like it has to be, or I won't drink it at all.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe it did that. I don't know. Right. But and that was it. That was my first experience. But I never really drank it. I mean, I drank in my teenage years, and I remember Mickey's. Right.
Yeah.
So I remember. See, my parents watch this. They're gonna find out all the stories now. So I remember my parents would leave to Mexico when I was 16, and they would leave me with the house at 16.
Yeah.
By myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, I had a couple friends over. We were having a good time, right? And Mickey's was very popular back then, right? So
Yeah.
The 40 of Mickey's.
The 40, yeah.
Yeah,
for
The
sure.
40s
right? The
tastes
40,
better.
right?
The old English tastes better.
Yeah, the oldie and the Mickey's, right? I don't know why. That was like the drink back then. It was just oldie or Mickey's.
It was rap induced, believe it or not.
Oh, big too short, big part of my upbringing, right? But I pounded 2 40s in 5 minutes. Because you're young, you're like, I could do that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh. It was one of those pray to the toilet nights, I'll never do this again,
Yeah.
or whatever, running around the street like a dummy, you know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, but that was my first experience. That was like one of my bad experiences, but it never really like vibed with me after that. I was like, whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So anyways. But so getting back to, so you have how many nephews, nieces, and nephews do you have?
I have the ones that I know. I have some on my father's side, but I don't know exactly how many they are.
Okay.
I know it's a lot of them though.
Okay.
Because when my grandmother had on my paternal grandmother,
Right.
Queen Bee,
Okay.
has like 8 kids, 58 grandkids, 78 great grandkids, and when she died, that was the number.
Wow.
But it was still like great, like it's some astronomical number.
It's still
Queen Bee,
Right.
loved her. Lorraine,
Right.
Lorraine, L.
yeah, another L,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, another
There
L.
you go. L's running the family. Yeah?
So
Legends. L is
but
for legends.
that's gonna be my son or my daughter name.
Oh,
beautiful.
nice.
So, but my nephew, I got Emmanuel, right, India, and Lonzo, and then Joshua and Vida. I have 5 nieces and nephews on my mother's side
Okay.
from my brothers and sisters,
Okay.
and I have 2 children.
Oh wow. Okay. That's a pretty big family right there.
It ain't. That don't feel big. Like what?
Wow. When you come from Queen Bee in '78,
Could you imagine not knowing your father, right? And then you touch down in the city, and it's like 30 first cousins.
Wow. So you went from a decent sized family to like a huge family.
Yeah, because it's Youngstown, Ohio. It's still kind of country
Yeah,
where everybody lived around the corner from each
Yeah.
other and goes
Yeah.
fishing together, and there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
But that's why people be having so many kids, because it's
Nothing else to do.
half, and smoke cigarettes and play spades.
Yeah. So what was that like? Like now you're introduced to this huge family, and so coming from the normal sized family to seeing this huge family. What was that like? Were you like, man, now I want a big family, or?
Oh, I don't think that really. When I went to go meet them, I had like a different feeling about it. It made me realize a lot of things about my father.
Okay.
I was more on the fact that people said that we acted so much alike that I was just caught up on how personalities just transfer.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you're him. You're his DNA.
Yeah.
You know, just like your son. What about your son? Is he kind of like you?
I'm about to tell you this right after Uncle Greg's story.
Okay, all right.
You know how like when you go out of town, you know what I'm saying, and your family want to kidnap you, you know what I'm saying, because they all want you to spend time with them. They don't know me. So I met my father and we went to a family reunion, and when I said I wish that I would have had a lady there with me, it was because, you know, you look up then everybody's kind of looking at you like, you know, and it's kind of weird. I wish somebody, you know, it's going to be okay. So after the family reunion, and mind you, I used to drink every day. I don't drink no more. I'll be 2 years clean and sober this year, right?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So my Uncle Greg said, you can come spend the night at my house, Junior. So I go to his house. I wake up early because I'm still on like a different time zone and I get up early anyway.
Right.
So here come Uncle Greg. He's a 280-pound man, about 6'5", maybe 310, something like that. Big man.
Big dude.
So he said, you want something to eat? So I follow him in the kitchen. He said, you want a beer? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock. I said, yeah. Here you go. I sip it. He said, hey, do you like to drink? I said, yeah. He said, a lot, huh? I said, yeah. He said, sometime when you wake up and have a hangover, do you need a beer to take your hangover away? I said, yeah. He said, yeah, you Larry, son.
Oh, wow.
He had the fact check.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Wow. It's hereditary then.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is. Like, a lot of people on both sides of my family drink alcohol, and I felt like me having kids, because my son, my oldest one, does not drink.
Right.
And I was like, man, I can't let him break the generational curse. I got to step up. I mean, people say that they Christians, Muslims, and stuff like this, but, you know, being a Christian, you have to bear your cross or whatever it is. You got to break the generational curse to the best of your ability.
And turn into a generational blessing.
Yeah.
Like my friend Marisha was saying.
We had another guest. She's also from Oakland, right?
She's originally from Florida.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
Marisha Ashanti.
Yeah, she said, instead of saying generational curses, why don't we talk about our generational blessings?
That's right.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So we made a little statement that said breaking generational curses and increasing generational blessings.
Yeah.
I'm with that. What's her name?
Marisha Ashanti. I'll send you her song. She has a good song that came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, she makes music too?
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's
Great singer.
a very awesome person.
Yeah.
Can I tell y'all about my music while
absolutely.
You should have her on your podcast.
Yeah. I was going to ask you what inspired you to stop drinking alcohol.
Can I tell him Autumn?
Autumn.
No, hey, because it's like this. This is spiritual, right? Alcohol has caused me so much grief in my life. You know, it has. Like, I'm very talented. I felt it hold me back, drinking. I think it gave me diabetes and stuff like that. It's just done everything, and the game is over. This is how I feel. I've been through a lot of things in life where I kind of felt like God and the devil was always talking and God was always protecting me, like in the book of Job. Have you ever read the book of Job?
Book of me? My book? Just kidding.
Job.
Book of Joe.
Oh.
My book. Yeah,
We're
that's
writing
right.
the book of Joe right now. Right?
Yeah.
So this is how I really feel. I kind of feel like this. God has always been protecting me. Like, I've been through a lot of things, like falling off roofs, this, that, shot at, all the type of shit. The God was with me, right? Yeah. So I kind of feel like the devil was saying to God, you know, you've been protecting him so long, you know. I mean, see how good he protects his self from himself. Alcohol is a decision and stuff like that. To drink alcohol is a decision. Eating bad things is a decision. So right now at this point in my life, I'm spending time or learning how to protect myself from myself.
I love that. Yeah.
That's true, because everything is a choice.
It is.
There's a quote that says, we're all self-made, except only the successful ones admit it.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of temptations, so I understand what you're saying, protecting yourself.
By the way,
from
with
yourself.
alcohol, too, it's legal.
I was going to touch on that.
And it does more damage than the drug that they just are about to make. Not even drug. the marijuana, which they're about to legalize,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really do as much damage as cigarettes and alcohol, which are legal.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, alcohol and cigarettes kill more people every single year than a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They destroy lives. They cause diseases. You know what I mean? Cannabis was a medicine.
It is still a medicine.
It's still a medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I don't want to go on this big tangent, but I know why cannabis was made illegal. It was very wealthy white men that wanted to demonize the industry so that the paper industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the oil and plastic industry could survive, could thrive, and that could die out. Instead, they legalized these other things that are actually destroying families, like pharmaceuticals, like cigarettes and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think in an essence, it's like because it's legal, it makes it so much easier to destroy lives than if it wasn't, and it was actually titled and labeled to what it really is, which is a drug that can really do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. That was the end of part 1. Part 2 comes out next Monday, 9 a.m. Please stay tuned.
Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when the next one comes out.